Hi again, Sheila Guffey with Creative Aging. Today we are going to play with markers, which we do not do very often, maybe every 4 years in our classes that we bring out markers. So this will be fun. And all you need is, of course, your selection of markers. If you only have a few colors, that's fine. We're doing, pretty whimsical drawings, and so you can make them any colors you want. We're just kind of playing with shapes and breaking up the space and, so any color will work, but if you have a big selection, bring them all. You will need a little canvas. Let me show you the back. So you can get these at any craft store. They're canvas panels. And I have this left over, so I'm going to use this size. It's not the same as these examples. If you want to make a square one, and if you ever wanted to turn this, you could almost use this as a coaster. It's a little big, but you could use these as a coaster because we're going to do a water gloss, like a water sealant on top. But that's what these look like. You can tell I test my markers. I always forget that I do that. Anyways, yeah, test your markers before you start coloring. These are the 5x5 canvas panels. So whatever size you choose, and these can be put in a frame, hung up, or used. So this can be functional art today. And then you might need a pencil. And for the end, you want to make these glossy. So you need some kind of clear acrylic high gloss coating. There are several brands. Any of them are fine. Mod Podge has a really glossy brand. And if you don't have this, you could also use Mod Podge, but it's not quite as pretty. It's not as glossy. So I like the sprays better. One great thing is after you put this on, it brightens up your colors. The shine does, so it will make it look a lot better. And these will last forever because they're gonna be waterproof. And so if you get dirt on them, if you use them, for coasters, they're not gonna get ruined. So this is a good little thing to have, and it'll last you forever. So I highly recommend you getting a bottle of clear acrylic high gloss coating. All right, so like I said, you can kind of do anything you want today. These are all simple drawings, and we've done this in the past. We've done a butterfly, we've done Valentine's Day, we did heart stuff, and most of this is just the things we've done before, but we're gonna use different colors and use markers. So I don't want you to stress about the drawing aspect. In this one, we're gonna do this one today together. It looks complicated, but it's actually a lot of doodling. It's not complicated. So I'm gonna pull this one aside. You can keep looking at these. I'll put them over here so you can see them. But like all of them, it's like do one image, so I just drew a butterfly, and then I started coloring the butterfly. Then just in the background, you just make stripes and dots. Most of these, it's just stripes and dots and squares. So you want to do your image first. So break up the space. So if you like this one, draw a line and cut the canvas in half. And then draw a heart on one side. And then that's just stripes. It's just kind of doodling and squares, more stripes. So these are not complicated. And you can look at, adult coloring books have some great whimsical little images to look at. If you have those handy, you can look at those for ideas too. Okay, so let's get started. So it's going to be a little different since I'm working in a different size. So I've got to figure out if I want to do I'll probably do my owl over here and then do some graphic stuff on this side. And don't make it too complicated, just make it simple shapes. So I'm gonna just do a circle for his little head. And we've done owls before, we did it in clay. And I'm drawing light because if I want to erase it, I can. And I'm gonna draw pretty quick just because I want more of the coloring to be on this video. So you guys please take your time on your drawings. The more you draw, the more time you draw, the easier this is gonna be for you. So don't rush anything. Just play and have fun. You can always make this a longer project too. You don't even have to finish it in an hour and a half. We recommend an hour and a half, but and I actually did use a coloring book to look at some of these designs. So all of these are simple shapes, triangles, circles. We're keeping it pretty geometric today. You can see that's the start. I'm drawing pretty light. I don't know if you can see it in the video. Hope you can. I'm gonna move this to the side a little bit. There we go. And I'm not even gonna draw all the shapes because I wanna do that with the marker, but I'm gonna just split up some of the space. So I'm just doing a wavy line next to it. They don't even have to be the same. I mean, make some of the lines straight, some of them curvy. No right or wrong way to do this. Okay. I think that's all I'm gonna do right now, and then I'm gonna switch to marker. But you can draw a lot more detail if you'd prefer to get it on with pencil first. But remember, your marker is gonna be a lot thicker than the pencil, so I don't want you to get frustrated, because if you do too detailed of a drawing, you're gonna go over it with marker and those lines are gonna be double the thickness, triple the thickness maybe than your pencil. So it might really mess you up. So that's why I do think it's a little bit better to just get the basic lines on there and then switch. And so of course, just pull out whatever markers you think you'll use, and you might need to get a few colors because you never know if some of them are running out. A lot of these we've used in classes before, and so I have not used them in probably a year. So I really don't know how these are gonna work. I'm just gonna start taking out colors, and your sets are probably newer and not as used as mine, so I think you're gonna be in better shape. So we're gonna test mine out together. I'm sure I have some sad ones that need to be thrown away. And I have two brands here. You know, this is Bic and this is Sharpie. They're all permanent markers. I like permanent markers better. I think they're smoother and they're darker, and I think it's way more fun. You could try regular markers. I don't even have regular markers, or I would try it with you today, but I just tend to like permanent markers a little bit better for this project. And so just start doing some color. I'm gonna do the same colors just so you can see it. So I'll do this pink. And remember, you will, just like with brush strokes, you will see kind of how you use this marker. So you need to think about how you're coloring. It's the same thing with the charcoal pencil and pretty much everything else we do. It matters. So if you want your line to look curved, you're gonna have to color more curved. If you want it to look choppy, maybe shorter marks. And one good thing is if you mess up, you might freak out, but it's gonna force you to just work with the mistake and make it work for you. And I will be honest, I messed this one up. I had something completely different out here and I messed up. So I covered it up with darker lines, and it ended up turning out better than probably my original plan. So I have to do that as well. I mean, everybody has to do it. It's just kind of work with, make a mistake in your favor. And I'm just kind of doodling, just color around the face. And like anything we do, it's a lot of layers. I'm gonna change, and then I'm gonna do like little kind of U's down here. I'm gonna layer a few of them, a few rows. And maybe do a bigger circle around the eye, and then we'll fill in the smaller circles with other colors. I'm gonna switch back to my pink. I'm gonna make my nose a little bigger. And do some little lines with pink maybe in between. And you can go over some of these colors, it's fine. Unless you're picky about your markers and you don't wanna, you will maybe get a little of the color off on your, so you can go over the lines or you can go right above. I'll go right above for those that really wanna keep their markers nice and super clean. And let's go to a darker blue. And I'll fill in these spaces. So that's really dark. And if you wanted, we can color all the rest in with maybe a lighter color. You can either color a solid or we can continue with the marks where we're using and just fill in different space. Now this is one of those colors that I can't tell if it's just sad it hasn't been used in a while or if it's drying out. I'm gonna keep using it and see. It actually may just it just needed a kickstart, so I think it's okay. This is a great project to throw away old markers though. I love projects like this because then I can clear out some supplies. My office is so full of supplies that anything that's ready to be thrown away, I'm almost glad because I have more room. So I'll go around the eyes and I'm gonna do circular, I'm gonna do lines all the way around. I'll hold it up and see if you can see it better. We're working so small today, I know it's more difficult to see. Do a little green in there on the pink. And I'm gonna go in it where the white is in between and I'm gonna color in. I don't mind the white showing, but I don't want that much, especially on the edges. I think I'm gonna color the edges green. So I'm just gonna let color kind of peek through in certain spots. So I'm not doing all of it, I'm just kind of going around the edges so it looks like you can see it better. And maybe right up here, I'm gonna do lots of green. So it doesn't look like a big circle on top of a body. And this is totally different than what we did last week because we worked realistic. So this is definitely not that. I think my dryer's done. You guys probably heard that loud dryer noise. And then let's start splitting up the space. So if you wanted to use, if you wanted to use your dark blue again, you sure could. So I'm gonna break these up into kind of like a grid. Let's see, I'm gonna turn it so you can actually see what I'm doing. You can go across this way if you want. One nice thing is you don't have to do straight lines today, so no stressing about that. And I'm talking to my ladies at the Statesman. You guys know who you are if you're watching. You and all of your rulers that you bring every day. They crack me up. They have to have straight lines no matter what they do. It's so cute. So then, think about if you want to leave it like that or if you want to fill some of these squares in. I'm going to wait. I'm just going to keep going and maybe switch to a different color here. Maybe I'll color that one solid. And, we'll do that. That pink and black, and that's kind of pretty. Let's do it. So I'm gonna I've got a few light pinks and you can use all one color if you want to, just start with one color. That way you're not opening lids and switching. And then we'll fill the rest in with a different color. This one is definitely probably going to be thrown away after this project. It is at the end of its life for sure. And that is very muted. You can tell. Look how sad that one looks. But it's going to be fine when we brighten it up. We're going to bring this bright pink in. And this is the Bic. I actually like them even better than the Sharpie. So if you see the Bics on sale, get those instead. I think they are really great. They go on so smooth. And just to be mindful, this is the kind of project that if you have hands that hurt, this could actually worsen your arthritis for the day. So I want you to be very careful and please don't hurt your hands. If you need to take breaks, please do. Working this small and this much coloring can kind of cramp your hand up. So this might be a good project to maybe take a break in the middle and have some coffee or something and think about what you want to do next. Highly recommend breaks on this one. Okay, everyone's probably gonna have a black Sharpie, so I'm going to use that for the middle, or just one line maybe. And I'm probably gonna leave this white. I'm gonna continue, and then I'm gonna do more to this later, but I wanna really think about what colors that I wanna bring together. But I like this black, so I'm gonna separate some of these lines and do some heavy black lines to the side. And you can do a little black dot in your eye if you want. I'm gonna use some black on this edge too. This will also cover any mistakes. Like if you colored outside the lines, you can just pretend like it didn't happen and cover it up with this line. And this one we can do, let's separate these two. I'm gonna do some swirls. These are all like doodles that, you know, you kind of do as a kid, so it's kind of fun. I'm sure everybody did this kind of stuff as a kid, just doodling and all right, let's think about what color we want here. We're gonna do more on top of that black too. It's kind of harsh. But I'm gonna do this color first so I can think about it. Maybe we could bring in the green, put it right in there. I have a big green marker, I'll use that one. So if you have different sizes, this will give your hand a break. So maybe if you have big ones, just, you can take those out for certain ones that you want solid. And this is where you might, you know, so I'm gonna do one long line because you can kind of see it. You can see where the marker's going over each other. So I'm gonna make that part of the design. Versus just coloring, you know, you really need to think about how you're using this marker. And I'll show you on the other ones in a minute. You can probably analyze how I use the marker. Make sure to get the edge up here too. It's easy to miss because it's curved. Especially if you're doing a solid line, you know, a solid shape. Okay. And then, what do we want over here? Maybe a purple. Thinking of purple. Or you could do more blue. It's funny, that blue looks purple to me, and that was supposed to be a blue. I'm gonna bring a different blue and see. There we go, that's a better blue. Look at the difference between these blues, how different they look. That one definitely looks purple. So see right here, I'm doing short strokes and I'll just show you the difference. So I'm purposely not filling it in on all the edges. I'm gonna color that whole thing in actually. I'm gonna do it that exact same way. So you're gonna see some of the canvas, and I may or may not like this, so we'll see. I am playing today like you guys are, so we're just figuring it out as we go. Okay, so that's just kind of going shorter strokes versus this one, which was long up and down. And hopefully you can see, you can tell how you're using your marker. And let's do some of this blue in here. Let's do, I'm gonna color some of these in. And I'm gonna go the same direction. I kind of want some of these things to be repetitive. Like I wanna bring out some of these colors throughout. Otherwise, it won't really go together. So I'm gonna do the same thing in some of these every other square maybe. So I'm just kind of creating balance and movement throughout this thing. So, you know, my eye will kind of keep going around. So maybe this green will lead me to this green, and these kind of, I don't know, marker strokes will be repetitive in here. Oh no. Oh, I messed up. I may have messed up on that one. That's okay. I'm gonna make it work for me in a minute. So these weren't all even, but that's okay. Bring in another color. And let's bring in another color and do the same thing, but maybe go up and down. So I'm thinking, I'm gonna bring in that kind of that teal blue. And I'm doing these at random, so I'm not doing every other square because these aren't equal. So I changed my path here. I'm just kind of doing random filling in, and it's gonna be just fine. And it's amazing, the gloss really will kind of pull this all together. It looks so much better once you spray it. And we can even go back to the dark blue or purple, whatever that one was. Let's use it and let's do that same thing. Yeah, that one's so dark. It's so funny how much darker it is than the other one. And I'm not leaving any squares white now. I'm just going in and filling the rest in. think that's good. Let's go back to these spirals, and then we're gonna work on the behind the owl. And so let's bring in that bright green. And so you can kind of do more spirals, or you can just go in between. I'm not gonna go over, I'm gonna start going around them. I'm not gonna totally go over my black. I'm just gonna go behind some of them and bring out other colors. And then take a pause, think about if you like it. Do you want more green? Do you want to add yellow? We can go in and add more dark. You can maybe move back here if you want to think about it more. We could leave it white. I mean, you can definitely leave the canvas showing, that's fine. Kind of up to you. And then if you wanted to add more black in here, you could make that line thicker too. So I'll just show you how that looks. So if you wanted to go in and say you wanted to add another black line, let's do that first. So I kind of like to do things before I jump all the way in. So before I fill in a big black stripe, let's just do another line and see how that looks first. Okay. And if you wanted, if you didn't like that still, we can go in and fill it out totally with black. Or you can make just one thicker. It's good to kind of do steps instead of just doing it and then not knowing if you like it. So kind of do steps the further along you get, because once you do this black, you can't erase it. So I'm gonna leave that. I'm gonna make this one a little bit thicker. I kind of like the white. And I can always change that later too. And so maybe more spirals over here. And we'll do a bright blue or middle. Actually, let's go back to that middle blue. You don't have to do spirals. We could do some circles. Kind of to repeat the shape of the eye. And make some of them small and some of them bigger, I think. And so it does look kind of funny. You know, while you're doing it, sometimes it doesn't come together till the end. So don't get frustrated. Not yet. And if you do get frustrated, maybe this isn't your medium. That's okay. And I'm having some go really off the edge. So don't be afraid to have shapes go off the edge and go right up to your owl. Maybe it's gonna be behind the owl, so we'll do this one where it's like looking like it's behind him. And see how I started with these pretty far apart because I just wanted to make sure I was liking the process. And then I just kept adding more. So it's best to just, do a few things. And then if you like it, you can keep going. But if you start with just doing tons and tons of these shapes and you hate it, you kind of just have to keep going with it. I'm gonna have that one go behind its little arm. And then maybe one little one over here going off the canvas. All right, now let's bring the black and we'll do some more circles on the outside and on the inside and just bring some black in. And remember, you don't want to go over all the work you just did, so make sure your black goes on the outside where you still see your blue. And they are going to overlap here, some of them. And if you don't like the black and you know, if you have certain colors that you really gravitate towards, don't use what I'm doing. Just, the black is definitely intense, so I'm probably doing too much of it right now, honestly. But I'm kind of doing it on purpose because I'm going to show you what I'm going to do to the face to kind of pull it together. So it's a lot of shapes. My little owl is looking lost. So I'm going to bring the black into the owl to balance it. And you can even color in behind. So this is too many. This is too much. Too much white, too many shapes. So this, I kind of did this on purpose because this is what I did in the last one and where I messed up and how you can fix it. So you can use your black and color everything in black if you decide you don't like something. So say that's just too much. We're going to go to the side and color over this. So you don't like something, figure out how to color over it. It's fine. We're just going to make it work. So just color over your design. And it won't hurt the black marker, to be okay. So the black's good to kind of fix mistakes, and you know, if it gets too busy and you get carried away with your crazy shapes, then just figure out how to tone it down. I'm gonna go over here, do the same thing. I'm gonna cover up some of these. And first, let me show you. And then let's cover it up and then we'll look at it again. Art is always kind of trial and error. That's how you learn. So just play and figure it out as you go. And we could do the whole thing black if you want to be lazy. I'm going to do the whole thing black just to save a little time. But I'm going to show you the other one because the other one has a little bit different details at the bottom. So just go along the edge so you don't color too much into your owl. So, oh, and I just slipped and made a black mark in it. Trying not to hit my tripod. And this is where I'm going to go really on the edge. You can even hold it up if you want, if that's easier. And I'm gonna go all the way on the edge to cover it in black right there. And same on the side. maybe let's go back and let's color the black behind some of this too. It's funny, these little tiny projects that we do, I swear they always take just as long, sometimes longer. You'd think that they'd be quicker and they'd be easy, especially something like this. It just seems like it'd go really fast, but the small things, because you know your canvas is so small, you notice all the details because people are going to be looking at it closer up. If you do a big painting, you know, it's going to be hung up further from your eye. So the smaller ones, you actually do have to do a lot of little details. Okay, so that changed the look of that a lot. I do think it's better. I didn't like it coming down that far. It just made my eyes dizzy, but you may have a totally different opinion. Maybe you liked it. If you wanted to bring black in some of the body, you could, or if you wanted to bring out any of these shapes, you know, you could. You can get carried away with this marker, so be careful. We'll do a couple. We'll just do black right here. And at the bottom, maybe. Kind of looks like stars now. And then think about if you want to, do you like this solid? Do you want to add any little dots or anything? You definitely can. We can find a purple real quick. I have markers behind me too, so I have so many markers. It's crazy. Let's look at my thing of markers. Look how many I have. So I'm grabbing from markers behind me, if you were wondering. Okay, so you can, you know, if that shape, if it's just too much green, then you can just separate it a little bit with tiny little dots. And this is something that you can always do bigger dots later, so I'm doing really small right now, because then I'm going to take a look at it and see if I like it. And I'm not really doing them in any order. I'm trying not to do too many. Very subtle. If you wanted to make those bigger, you could. And we have the purple, so let's bring some purple back here. I'm gonna go behind some of these colors and just bring shape out with purple. And I'm not coloring it in yet. I'm just gonna bring some purple and just see if I like it, and then I can color it in later. And I kind of like it, so I'm gonna bring more. I think I'm gonna just go on the outside of this black, do purple spirals. And on the inside. I think the purple looks good since there's so much blue in this. And if you want to color it all the way in, you can. It's hard. I will admit that markers is definitely one of my least favorite mediums. So this is not my favorite thing to do because I like being able to cover up, you know, I like being able to erase or I like things that are more forgiving. So anything else you can basically paint over it, or you can kind of lift with watercolor paint and all about drawing. And this is not forgiving at all. So it can be frustrating, but it also forces you to just kind of figure it out. And I don't know if I love what I just did with the purple. Not gonna lie. I'm gonna add more of it because I think I need to color maybe spaces in with the purple because now it looks messy to me. But I may hate this, I don't know. I'm gonna go in and color some spaces. And if not, I'm gonna color all over. I'm gonna color all over it. So basically any white space, I'm gonna make it look like there's a purple background. But I still want my spiral, so I'm not coloring over that. And I think this is better. And then up here, I'm gonna make sure to go on the edge. And right here too. Okay. I need a little more green right there in that spiral. So I'm going back to my green. And then you can fill in the rest of the negative space if you want, or you can leave it white. It's up to you. Just make sure not to go over your purple right now because it's still gonna be, I don't want you to ruin a marker. So I'm just being careful to just go into where I had either the canvas. Okay. And so at this point, figure out if you have anything else you want to do. If you wanted to bring thicker black lines to separate any of these, you could thicken up. Like if we wanted to see this right here, you can see a white edge the way we colored. If you don't like that, we can go in with a black marker and cover it up. But you might like it. So if you like it, leave it. I'm just gonna do it just to see, so you can see with me and not make a mistake on yours. So if you don't like it, then don't do it. But I'll do it just to see how it would look. So I'm gonna cover up that white edge and I'm just gonna go along and make my line really thick and black. And that will cover up all the white, and then you'll just see the marks that I made. So see if you like it on mine and then decide if you want to do it, because you cannot take this back. So don't do it if you don't like it. And since I made that one so thick, I'm going to make that one thicker. So once you do one thing, you kind of have to figure out how to balance it out. I don't hate it. I like it. So I'm going to make that thicker, and I'm going to go into the green and maybe make that smaller because I don't want to go into all that work I just did. So I'm just going to make this one to match, separates them. And you can do this a couple times, to get the thickness. It's almost easier to draw one straight line, or for me it is, than to color it and try to make it thick. And this makes it a good smooth line. Okay, so that's what that looks like. So we are at a point where we need to take a break and really pause and think about what you like and what you don't like. What else can be worked on? Is your eye getting stuck anywhere? If it is, figure out how to fix it and what to work on. You know, you can always go back in, like how you added the dots. If you wanted to add dots, you know, somewhere in here on, you know, say you wanted to go in. Say you want to go in and add dots. We'll do it. I'll do it with the black. You can just add them, maybe as another extra stripe. And if you like it, you could add more. You could add more down here. I don't really think, if it were me, I don't know if I would do it, but I'm going to do it just for you guys, just to see. So you can either add them in the pink or on top of the pink. So I'm going to do it in the pink, actually. Okay, and that's how that looks. So you just keep adding things. And you might be surprised. You might end up loving it more. The more you add, the more interesting it kind of gets. You know, so don't be afraid. This is a good project. You can really get carried away. It is very different. It's very abstract. It's very geometric. It's very whimsical. It's not a typical project, but it's good because you can just keep going. This is bugging me. The more I look at it down here, see how the white edge? I'm gonna go in with my blue, and I'm gonna go over that because it's just standing out now. That there's so much dark on the on the picture. So this right here, my eye's getting stuck. So if your eye's just stuck somewhere, you really need to fix it. It's off balance somehow. So I'm just gonna add a line and I'm gonna go over it with this line too. Because I had both of those colors up there. So just keep working on it till you love it. And now that you've seen the process, I'm gonna show you the other one. And so I want you to see the difference of when it's sprayed. So this is not sprayed yet. You can't see a shine. When you spray it, it really comes together. See that gloss? And it makes it look more like a painting. Whereas this still kind of looks like it's a marker project. And the gloss brings the colors out more. It makes them brighter. It's amazing. This gloss is amazing. So this green is the same. And you won't see all the kind of, you'll see some of it, but you won't see it it won't be as harsh. So once you spray it, it really comes together nicely. And so this one, is just kind of a similar. And see how at the bottom, instead of doing all black behind it, it's just kind of almost supposed to look like some colorful like tree stump or something. And then look at these up close. And so that was just drawing an outline of a butterfly. Starting with coloring that in, just stripes, and maybe figure out if you want circles. Do the black last because, sorry, that's so shiny you can barely see it. Anyways, yeah, so do the black later. You can always add more black. So after you did the pink, and notice, see how I colored? I made it part of the movement of the design. So see this one? I colored in this direction. I curved my marker. So I did not color back and forth. If you colored this way, it would change the whole look. So I kept my marker down and I just went out to create movement. And then I wanted the movement to go off the canvas and over here the same way, but then it comes back in. So when you're looking at any painting, you want your eye to move. So you want you want to look at the butterfly, and then I wanted the viewer's eye to go over here and then go over here and then come back up and then look at the butterfly again. That's good art. You want movement, you want your eye to keep looking at it. So if it's getting stuck or if your eye's just going off the page and then it's not coming back, it's probably not a good composition. And this one's super easy. We've painted feathers before, so I figured this one would be kind of easy, you know, I did the blue feather first, and then I came in with the red behind it. And I went the different direction. So I went this way with the blue, and then this way I changed it, went in with the red. And this one has not been sprayed either. So you can tell it's just a little bit flat. It looks a little flat. So when you go outside to spray, shake your can. The instructions are on the back. Just make sure to shake it. Do this outside. Do not do it inside. It is very strong. And then spray back and forth. Okay? Thank you.